Hey, what's up, guys? This is your girl, Coco, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Kiki with Coco. If you are new to the show, let me just tell you a little bit about it. It's basically about life in general with an emphasis on relationships. I have my friends come on the show or guests that are experts in the topic of the episode. And we just have a Kiki session about whatever the topic is. And so today I have one of my homeboys on the show. His name is Dub Cito. Dub, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor. Since you introduced me as Dub Cito, I do go by Dub. Even my mom's calls me that, but my real name is Antonio Oquendo. Living in Tokyo now, originally from Compton, California. And I'm just here to, chop it up with you and share my perspectives on whatever the conversation takes us. We've been knowing each other for a lot of years now. You and I go way back. I think we met through a mutual friend.
Yeah, I think in like 2012. So it's been a few.
Man, then we crossed paths for a hot second in Korea.
Yeah.
Lots changed since then over the years. I've calmed down, set back, and matured.
Have you now? Because his house was definitely the turn up, even on work nights.
That's funny you say that because I used to put my life in shambles a lot, self-inflicted because of those work nights. So I definitely moved away from that. Now the mid-30s got me seeing things more clear.
But so that is Dub, and we're going to go ahead and roll into the drink with Coco this week. And so this was actually a recommendation by Dub, and it is called a Mexican Mule. So if you've had a Moscow Mule before, then it's kind of like a take on that, but you use tequila instead. So I use Jose Cuervo Gold and lime and ginger ale. And I think you said you use ginger beer.
Yes, so ginger beer typically for any mule. That's what make it a little bitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still bitter, even with the ginger ale. I don't think the ginger is as prevalent as it would be with ginger beer, but it's still pretty on the bitter side, but it's good. It's good. I
like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it had to like settle in a bit because when I first tasted it, I was like, "Ooh, this bitter." But once it kind of like settled a little bit, it's good. I like it.
So I mean, how much tequila versus how much of the mix did you put in it?
I put 2 shots of tequila in it. Basically just squeezed the lime, so all the lime juice went in, and then I don't have it in a big glass, so it ain't maybe about 3 ounces of ginger ale. So
so you really out here. You really out here on the
I gotta get my day started,
Good. Yeah, that's not for the week right there. That's how you're supposed to have it. You can put a lot of tequila and a little bit of mixture, and it's still gonna even out. So
yeah,
you should have a good day after that.
Yeah, this is a good start. I don't think I'm a drink much more until later when I go to dinner. But yeah. So just getting the day started, getting the chores around the house done. So
Definitely.
thank you.
So
This
to
was
anybody out there,
huh?
I was gonna say just ask for a a Mexican Mule. It's a great drink if you haven't had it.
Yes. So y'all go ahead and try it. I think any restaurant would have or any bar would have the ingredients to this. And if you want to make it at home, all it is Gold Tequila, lime, and ginger beer or ginger ale, whichever you prefer. So go ahead, try that out, and let me know how you guys like it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so now for the word on the street. we got 50 Cent. I think 50 Cent is always saying some crazy stuff. Makes me definitely look at him sideways. But if you don't know, basically he got on Tunchi Radio, which is Lil Wayne's. Is that a podcast or is that like just?
It is a podcast. Now, you know, everybody in the podcast game, Young Money Radio, he got a deal with Apple.
Okay. So yeah, he was on Lil Tunchi Radio and they were talking about a number of things, but in the conversation, he brought up how he likes exotic women and Black women get angry when they see him with women of these other ethnicities. And, you know, I don't know. I feel like maybe he could have worded what he said better, but to me, in my eyes, I don't feel no type of way about no Black man dating outside of his race. I feel like you're attracted to what you're attracted to, but at the same time, I don't want anybody. I don't feel like you should try and downplay another type of woman because that's your preference.
Absolutely, I agree. That podcast, they spoke for an hour and a half. And 50, if you know 50, he can just talk and talk and talk. He's a great storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw the clips online and on the Shade Room, you know, when you just take 15 seconds, it might look
Taken
a
out of
lot more
context.
crazy. Yeah, it looked a lot more crazy than what it actually was. And I'm not saying that what he said wasn't out of line. I agree with how you said it. He could have worded it differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think that 50 is that guy that likes exotic, however you want to define that, but usually some different races mixed
Mm-hmm.
with Black, not mixed with Black, from South America, from Europe, or
Because I
whatever.
feel like the girl he with now, she mixed with Black.
Right. You know, and then he's been with, you know, Vivica Fox was a popular one, but he's been with Black women, and I'm sure he's been with exotic women. So it's not, he not one of those guys that we can just say 50 don't like Black, he don't protect and like our Black queens, because, you know, I don't think that that's the case necessarily. But the
But
way it came off.
now I will say I question 50 about say like a Black woman that look like me versus a Black woman that's on the mixed side. Like Naturi Nathan, who plays Tasha on Power. I don't know if you recall that photo that she took. She had like this high ponytail and he like put a side by side with her and like another. I don't know if he a villain, like superhero villain type deal or whatever. And it for them to have the relationship that they have, I don't know if that was a joke between them because she never came out and said, you know, that's just how me and him, you know, play around or whatever. But I think that in conjunction with this kind of set the tone as to why people may have taken what he said out of context.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, 50 is, you know, the biggest troll that exists between maybe him and a 6ix9ine, but 50 is so successful that he be acting, you know, like immature. Like he be doing a lot of talking about a lot of things that
Mm-hmm.
maybe he shouldn't. And when you have such a big platform, anything you say is going to be scrutinized. The difference is 50 such a, he got it out the mud and he still has a hood mentality. He's a genius and a mogul with a hood mentality. And so I love that about 50 because he managed to stay authentic, but still switch up and be business minded. But the authentic side of him, you know, he opened his mouth and wild shit come out. And
Yeah.
so I just I don't I'm not judging him as a bad dude or looking down on Black women because he said that. And this because at the same time, I don't judge, like you said, anybody for having a preference. If you like a certain skin tone of woman, or if you like white women, or if you like dark skinned women, that's fine as long as you're not putting other women down in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said that, you know, I think that it's like he was justifying why men get we get a, I don't want to say attacked, but we'll get called out when we're going for what he said these exotic women are. And he was defending an affinity for exotic women, but he shouldn't have worded it when he like, yo, black, I think he said like, black bitch, get off me or something, like you mad.
Yeah, you angry.
Yeah, he didn't have to say that. But then again, in his experiences being followed by millions of people, he pop up with these type of women, exotic, if that's how you define them, maybe he is the dude that reads his comments. And you know how comments can get online, like you can easily be attacked by a mob of whatever, black women or whoever. And the truth is, even on the Shade Room, which the Shade Room deserves credit to be like a powerful platform for the black community.
They definitely are. That's where I get a lot of my news from, on the, the what's going on in entertainment.
Right. And then if you follow the Shade Room, who don't look at the comments? Like you shouldn't get lost in the comments, but you look in the comments and it just seemed like groupthink. Like a lot of people be on the same wave. They either all hate you, they all love you, they all protecting you. And when 50 be opening his mouth and saying some of the things he says, he get attacked for it a lot. So maybe in his mind, I don't know, he feels some type of way.
Maybe he just don't care no more.
And he don't. He don't care.
That's why he be trolling.
He for sure be trolling. Yeah, he got carried away in that whole conversation, but I enjoyed the podcast that he did with Wayne.
Yeah, I mean, because they talked about other stuff. Like, I only listened to like a couple minutes of it, and then I was just like, okay, that ain't what I'm talking about. So let's get through this. But I know they kind of talked about, I guess how well Cash Money did, in comparison to other record labels that was out at that time. Because I think, there were so many, everybody was popping up with a record label at the time. You had Cash Money, you had, was it Rockefeller?
No.
Yep,
limit.
you had Rockefeller, you had 50 Cent had his G Unit. So, I mean, it was, but I will say out of all of the record labels from that time frame, Cash Money definitely stood out. They branched off to Young Money. They still got
Drake and Nicki.
Huh?
Gave us Drake and Nicki.
Yeah, they still putting out hits now. So I definitely say they've definitely had a productive run as far as like the record labels that came up during that time frame. But yeah, I'm pretty sure 50 don't care about how he come off to the majority or the masses. He gonna say what he gonna say, and honestly, I feel like that's not gonna stop his bag. Power was an amazing show. Like, I definitely kept up with Power. I know he has some spinoffs from that coming up, and I'm gonna watch that. So to me, I feel like it's hard to say let's cancel 50, because he does have a brilliant business mind outside of his shenanigans. Outside of the shenanigans.
And one other thing that I'll say towards cancel, and why we shouldn't cancel 50 is, I think it's so easy to be hypocritical. And why I say that is, us non-celebrity people, you ever found yourself saying, God know my heart? That's a famous saying that we say when we know we're doing wrong in the world. God know my heart. And you might actually, you probably are truly a good person, but nobody knows the good you're doing behind closed doors. You know what I'm saying? You don't know that I just gave $5 to a homeless person. You don't know that I was helping with some kids somewhere. Like, there's a lot of good things I do that only myself and God knows.
Yeah.
But I'm not famous. But the same thing goes for these celebrities. And when it comes to philanthropy, or when it comes to, activism, and especially like right now, Black Lives Matter, some people, their stuff is posted and is public, but then a lot of the stuff is not public. And so you don't know. And so my point is for 50, and we could tie it back to, black women or angry black women or whatever, you don't know what he has ever done positive for black women or how he actually feels about black women and what he's doing in the community. And you actually see a lot of things that he does, but I always believe that there's more that you don't see. So if we run around here and we say, God know my heart, and we feel like we're a good person behind closed doors, like these celebrities, a lot of them are too. You just don't know it. They just so publicized that it's easy to attack them. But I just think that people should give a little bit more benefit of the doubt to these celebrities. Now I think we go too hard on them, honestly. And people make mistakes, and sometimes you say the wrong shit. It's so easy when you just having a conversation. Am I supposed to not curse? Like,
no, you can curse.
I don't want to say. Okay,
just, not
just like that. Like we get in conversation, and I might say some wild stuff, and I don't, didn't mean for it to come out that way. But I think, deep down inside, 50 is done a lot of good things and is a good dude. Just my opinion.
Like I said, I can't take away from his business mindset that he has, his creativity. I definitely don't take away from that. As far as 50 and his personal beliefs, as far as like how he views women or whatever, I may not necessarily rock with it, but like I said, I don't feel no type of way about black men dating outside of their race. I mean, now I will say it took me a little bit to get to that place, but I am there because I just feel like just because that's your preference, that don't take away from the amount of action that I get. You know what I'm saying? So you do you, and I'm gonna do me.
Wow, black men dating outside their race. I want to come back to that.
We can talk about it now.
I mean, we could transition. What's that segment you call it? Hot Cup of Coco?
Yeah, the Hot Cup of Coco. Okay, we can move that there. So we're gonna go ahead and take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna get into the Hot Cup of Coco. All right, so we are getting into the Hot Cup of Coco for this week. So the Hot Cup of Coco this week is pretty much just dating in a nutshell from a man's perspective. I think it's important to have men come onto this platform and talk about how they view certain things when it comes to relationships, to give women and even, provoke some thoughts within the man's mindset on how they are operating in a relationship. And yes, this is subjective, but I think it's at least a starting point, give you something to think about. So I know one of the things that I have battled a lot in my dating life is the time frame of dating and talking and when you make it official. And so is dating and talking the same thing, would you say?
To me, yes, it's pretty much the same thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to put too many boundaries on dating. I think it's a loose concept. I think dating to me means you are going out on dates, to dinner or to the movies or to whatever it is that you're choosing to do whenever y'all make time for each other. But it's nothing more than that. It's early and you getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. And these days, what is talking? Is talking just FaceTime and text message? Or is it in person also and talking? I don't I think that dating and talking and whatever else you want to call something, entanglement, that's all like in the same pool. And then the only line that you cross over is when you make it official, like you said. So yes, to me, dating and talking is the same thing.
Okay. So, dating and talking is the same thing. And I feel like it goes into the whole concept of you can't really put a time limit on when you feel like it's the right time to make it official. But I know women or people in general, I'm not going to say just women, but people in general kind of be like, oh, well, we doing this and we doing that. We might as well make it official or whatever. But then the other person is kind of just like, I'm still trying to figure it out or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You could be on different time frames and in different lanes. So what's the time frame? I'm speaking now from a more mature perspective. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I think of making something official, it's because I have marriage in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, when I was in my early 20s, I didn't have marriage in mind, but it had to be somebody special to make me want to cut my hose off.
Mm-hmm.
And
But did you ever make it official with somebody?
I had I've had three relationships throughout my 20s where I made it official. And the circumstances was all different. One was long distance, one was toxic and on and off, and the other was so quick because I recognized the writing on the wall and knew I had to get out of it. But there was a point where it was real euphoric, it was real cloud nine, and
Mm-hmm.
everything was great. And I'm like, man, I really want to continue kicking it with this person. And it just sort of naturally evolved into, well, shit, we might as well just be, boyfriend and girlfriend. And the time frames were all different. One of them was extremely quick, like less than a month.
Mm-hmm.
Another one was about 3 months of what you would, consider dating and talking, and the other one was like a weekend. So I done been all over the place. And I would say that the reason I've been all over the place, and here's the problem, one of the problems, is that with each of those females, they were great. They were great to me. And they still are good people because I don't have no animosity with no ex.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, but I put so much stock into how good they was that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't take the time to look at how ready I was.
Mm-hmm.
And in those relationships, I probably wasn't ready to make nothing official with anybody.
Yeah.
Therefore, those relationships ended. No matter whether it was official in a week, official in 3 months, it don't matter when I make it official, and it don't matter how great that she was. I wasn't fully ready. Therefore, we should have never made it official.
Right. Because I feel like me personally, like I've said it numerous of times on this show, is that I feel like it's only been official twice. The first one was like a on and off type situation. A lot of back and forth, definitely just young, don't know how to deal with the emotions that's going into, this relationship, this entanglement. And then the second one was, I think I was so pressed because it was just like, I'm nearing the end of my 20s. I'm still not married.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to make something official. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it put pressure on that individual to be like, okay, we gotta, this is what she want, we got to do it. And then, in the long run, it just didn't pan out because I don't think either of us were ready for
Yeah.
what came along with that type of commitment. um so, and people have asked me like, will I get married again, and if I'll do it fast or if I'll wait for forever. um I'm still just kind of like, it just depends on where we are, in our situation. I'm not going to say like, oh, we got to be dating for 10 damn years, because ain't nobody got 10 years to just be dating somebody. Um, and plus, I'm not going to say it's not going to happen in 4 months. I just feel like, um, depend on the vibe. And I also think at this point in my life, whoever I end up dating will have also experienced some type of trauma from a relationship, and hopefully they will have learned from their previous mistakes and can venture, I guess, make more sound decisions or be more in tune with what it is that they want to make a relationship happen with someone. So that's where I'm at with the whole talking, dating situation. I still feel like I'm not going to put a time limit on it. Am I going to date somebody for 10 years before they decide to make the commitment to me? Hell no.
Maybe you should. Maybe you should. And there's a reason I say this. Obviously, we getting older now. I mean, are you in your 30s?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm
we
in
there,
my
right?
30s now.
We at that serious point in life. And I got this kind of a wild theory, philosophy about meeting somebody and then dating them. You meet anywhere, right? Say you met at the bar, whether you met at church, whether you just met at the gym, whatever you do to meet, or on a date app, you meet and then you take an interest in a person, you exchange phone numbers, you start talking, texting, you go out on a date. This whole process, the both of you are putting on the best version of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even when, to take it a step further, even when you talk about your flaws, because maybe you are an open person, because I'm an open person.
Same.
So I will, over dinner, I will talk about my flaws and not just, the good parts of me. And to me, that's being transparent, but you still don't really run into a problem or a potential problem between the two of you until you cross that bridge.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel that people just put on the best version of themselves, and that's just dangerous because you have these blinders, and after a month, 2 months, after a year or 2 years, like when do you start really getting to knowing the best or the deepest and realest part of a person, and are all of the skeletons out of the closet? And I think that the deepest truth is that all your skeletons are never out of the closet. And you met this person and you always wanted to be the best version of yourself for this person. They don't know who you was a year ago. They don't know who you were 5 years ago. And what be bothering me is that sometimes you probably came so far, like I done grew so much, I'm so much more mature, but you don't even get credit for it because they don't know who the fuck you was 2 years ago.
Exactly.
So now you just in this new relationship, and that's all you get credit for is what you have showed them, but they don't even know that you was wilding and how you used to be. And and so my theory is like, you know what, I have friends, female friends, who I been friends with for 10 years, 5 years, whether it was intimate or not, just friendship, living close by each other, not living close by each other, and then social media, because social media is very prevalent these days. Like, so for 10 years of my social life, you've seen me. You've seen the serious stuff I post. You've seen the turn up. You've seen me post a girl, then not post a girl. You've seen me purge my IG. Like, you've seen the ups and downs of my life. And if we really close,
definitely have.
Especially me, right? And because I'm such a transparent person, so I have these relationships with these women that have always been amicable. I never, disrespected a woman, never really did a woman wrong. There's been some heartbreaks, but it's these women from my past that I didn't even meet and like date like that, like the typical met wherever online or something and started dating. But those are the ones that know my true flaws and my everything about me. Mm-hmm. And you probably have a better chance making something serious happen with those people than going out and meeting somebody new. Because there ain't no best version of yourself with those people that have known you for years. They like, no, I know your demons already, so don't even come with the bullshit. I accept you for who you are. Yeah. Now let's build this partnership together.
Now, I would definitely say I prefer going back and dating people that I've dated previously than dating new people. And that's because, like you said, you already know what you get in. They know what, they know what they get in. I feel like there are only two people I would never go back to. And that's just because, and those were the two serious relationships I was in. It was kind of just like, no, I just can't do that with you. Like, I guess the hurt from it is just like, it was too much hurt,
Yeah.
to go back to that. Yes, there have been many years in between, now and from when we originally broke up, but too much has happened in that time frame, for it to be like,
Right.
I could go back. But there are definitely some people in my past where it'll be like, yeah, I could see me going back to that, you know.
And
Um,
so you just said it. You said that the two relationships you wouldn't, but these others that you can see yourself going back to, they weren't ever official, right?
yeah, they
Whether it
weren't
was
ever official.
whether you talked, whether you dated, however you want to define that, whether you was entangled, whatever it was with them, like it's probably amicable. And as you grew apart, you still stay connected and you still see each other and you see the growth in each other. So you get credit for that. You know
Yeah,
how far each other have come. You've seen each other live life and you know each other very well. So you just have so much more to build up on when you start with a person from your past as opposed to the person you swiped right on and you starting from that scratch.
yeah.
And so you definitely, that's it to me.
Yeah, for sure. So we keep saying this entangled word. And if y'all are in tune with what's going on in the media right now, I talked about it on last week's episode when August Alsina gave his interview with Angela Yee about, his life, his motivation for his new album that just came out. But so we heard his part or thoughts on him and Jada Pinkett Smith's relationship. And everybody was like, I don't think that's real, especially because their publicist came out and said that, it wasn't true. But now that Jada has done the Red Table Talk, I feel like the wasn't true part is the part that Will gave his blessing for Jada and August to deal with each other. Because in the Red Table Talk, they mentioned that they were actually separated when she was dealing with him. Um, so what are your thoughts on, and she mentions that she entered into a entanglement with August, and Will was like, an entanglement, like a relationship?
Right, called her ass out.
Mm-hmm.
So my thoughts on it, I take a little left turn. I'm not focused so much on, I think, what most people are focused on. Um, I'm gonna start by saying I think they are covering something up still. And when they say we were broken up or we were,
Separate.
separated, that's why she was able to do her. Uh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I think that August is a result of their open relationship,
Facts. Same.
and August couldn't keep his little hot girl mouth shut, and now they have to deal with this publicly. So I still believe that Will and Jada have this established life partnership, open relationship that they defined that works for them, and it should have never been public because the public just ain't ready to handle that. And
True.
because of what just happened, I feel like their best way to save face was to say they were separated, and that's how it went down. So then it looks like Jada didn't cheat, or they don't have an open relationship, or they're not swingers. This was just a bumpy part in their marriage, and then she went and did what she did, and then they reconciled their marriage. That looks better to everybody who thinks in a traditional sense of what marriage and love should be. But the
Right.
reality is, Will and Jada is not traditional. They are not conventional. They are out the box. They are unorthodox. They are a life partnership, and they have navigated love in the public eye for over 25 years, and I admire them for that. Like they gave me so much of a different look, you know, to for me to aspire to. Like I still want a Will and Jada love. You probably seen the memes where they like, yo, J. Cole, you still want that that Jada and Will love? And
Yeah.
he like, nah. I, I'm different though. I do, and I want it even more now. I always, you know, I've been reading between the lines between their relationship for a while, and I don't know if you remember a year and a half ago when they had their first Red Table Talk. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, I saw the first one.
And to me, that was amazing. Like I actually pulled my phone out and took notes on it because that's how interesting it was to me. But I literally wrote in my phone that, you know, they were able to like tap dance around some things where they said they actually came out and said they weren't swingers, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, they didn't say they didn't have an open relationship. There was a point where, you know, she was like, even if I live on this side of the house and you got to live on that side of the house, we gonna still be in the same house and we gonna make this work.
Yeah.
Like that was her to me alluding to the fact that they have been in situations where they do their own thing, but they
Mm-hmm.
still love each other. They still raise a family. And to me, that was them admitting that they do have an open relationship. And now, fast forward to August coming out, this is just proof.
Right.
But it works for them. It works for them. And so
And he was
it
collateral
might
damage.
August. Oh yeah, August is collateral damage, right? And he got emotional
Mm-hmm.
and he fell in love and he got cut off, and that's that. But to comment on this other piece that everybody is saying how sad Will looked, and I didn't notice it at first, but he did look sad, and so I started thinking, was Will sad because of what Jada did with August? My answer is no. I don't think that's the case because if they have an open relationship, then you are prepared for that. You know that she's doing something. Whether
Right.
you know about it specifically or not, you know that something is going on and you have given that blessing, which is why
Mm-hmm.
August said he got the blessing. What Will is mad about is the fact that he got to deal with this petty shit on the world stage because you couldn't control your hoe.
Right. Because they did talk about how everybody done made it their business and it ain't none of their business. But here we are.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why Will was like, oh, I'm gonna get you back. And she was like, you already got me back. Which that part was super interesting to me too, because I feel like they were very professional and like when they speak publicly, they've been doing it, right? They've been
Yeah.
stars
Like
for a
they
long
got
time.
this
So
shit down pat.
they do. But when she said one thing, to me, it felt unpacked. When she was like, he was like, oh, I'm gonna get you back.
And
And
she
she was
said
like,
you already did that.
yeah, you already did. He was like, yeah, you probably right. And then she was like, this isn't so much about getting back. And he was like, it is to me. I feel like right there they unraveled a little bit because Will was really on some like nah, bitch, I'm gonna get
I'm
you.
about to get your
And
ass.
then Jada responded and said, okay, I'm gonna give you that petty shit. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't expect her to say that. It was like you could just see that the issue is
That
really
was the
there. Like
unscripted part.
exactly. So I thought that was funny, man. But I still admire their relationship. I admire their love. And I think that even though I think they started out young and they had to figure this out, but the lesson for us, the lesson for everybody that's not married is that we should take a page out of their book and define what love is from scratch
Mm-hmm.
before we end it 10 years from now and we end up cheated on, heartbroken, depressed, and a wreck. But when you start dating, whether it's a new person or somebody from your past, like unlearn all of this shit that society taught us.
Mm-hmm.
Unlearn what you saw from your parents, even if you saw good. You know what I mean? Because even in our parents, things get hidden. You got prideful people out there,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know how much your mom done cheated, your dad done cheated, or maybe you do, and then you might not know how much more they cheated than what you do know. Like there's so much to life that people keep inside of them, and so we've only learned love through what we saw in family, through what we saw on TV, through what you learn in church if you're a religious person. But throw that shit all out the window and get a blank piece of paper and define your love the way you want to define it with whatever rules you want to have, and then you make that shit work for you. Fuck what society thinks.
Exactly. I remember when I first got married, there was a married couple that I was cool with, and they've been on the show, Ebony and Jeremy. And I remember them telling me, telling me and my ex-husband, like, you know, whatever you thought you knew about marriage, just throw it out the window. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I took that to heart, but maybe he didn't take that to heart. So it was one of those things like I wholeheartedly understand that concept. Like what you think you know, like just start from scratch and you make your own rules, because you know, you trying to build a life together, but you're going off of social norms, and sometimes those social norms don't always mean sometimes those don't necessarily mean we need to be doing that, you know?
Right.
So speaking of Will and Jada's open relationship, I feel like so often in recent times and within the past couple years, the question of monogamy has come up, you know, and do I believe in it? And I'm still on the fence about it, you know, because I know some people are like, it could be, you know, it's not all about the sexual aspects of the relationship, but more of what we're all bringing to the table. Like you know, we all got jobs, we contribute into the household together, those type of things. So I feel like there is another part of non-monogamy that people don't necessarily look at when they think of, oh, they poly or they got open relationships or whatever the case may be. It's just like there is another aspect to it outside of the sexual part.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
And so when I think about Will and Jada's situation as well, and, you know, of course, people are like, you know, a few years back or whenever it was, Will had, I guess there was a woman that used to pop up in all the same places as he would or whatever. And it was said to be that this was his side chick or whatever like that. And everybody is like, well, his side chick ain't saying nothing. I said, well, we don't know who his side chick is. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she's somebody that, you know, maybe they provide a lifestyle for her. So her incentive to be quiet is that she's able to live this lifestyle. August is a celebrity in his own right. He don't depend on them for his lifestyle. So it's like he didn't necessarily have nothing to lose by putting that information out there.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Do you feel that August was preyed on?
So I think we all know that August is an emotional individual. And Jada even said when he initially was introduced to their family, you know, he was sick and, you know, she was helping him, you know, they were helping him, you know, in that way. I don't know. So I will say, I don't think he was preyed upon. I think that, you know, sometimes you just deal with people and your relationship takes a different turn. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessary. I don't think she came into the situation like, oh, I'm about to get this. You know what I'm saying? It could have just been like the amount of time and emotional connection that they had with each other, because I feel like they were connected on a different level than just a sexual situation.
So, yeah, definitely. And the reason I asked you that question is because it really kind of puts something in perspective about myself. And I've known this about myself for years, but I can't decide whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. And maybe it's not good or bad, but when I say preyed upon, and August had, you know, issues physically, you know, then it led to mental illness, whatever it is, he needed help, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Jada and Will, probably mostly Jada, decided to help them, I have found myself attracted to wanting to help people, specifically women, but it's in my nature. Like, I'm a helpful person. That's why I said people, because I help my guy friends. Anybody I can help, I want to help.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a bad trait. But when it comes to women, now you get it. It gets dicey when it's an attractive woman and she looking like this and body like that. But then you got issues too, issues that are not a red flag that send me running, but issues that I'm like, you know what, I can help you with that because I'm maybe a little bit, more experienced or something. And so I enter into these entanglements thinking that I can fix the person. And in some cases, I've helped people, but then in some cases it went bad, just like Jada and August too. So is that a problem? Is my question. Like I would say that maybe that's what happened with Jada. Like she wants to help somebody, and then the attraction is there too.
Mm-hmm.
And now this person ended up. I mean, I guess he did get help from them, but it went bad. Is that a problem though?
I think love or life in itself has its intricacies, and I think that from the outside looking in, we can be like, oh, she preyed on him or whatever the case may be, but I just feel like human nature always wants to help somebody. Human nature also cannot it can't unattract itself to what it's attracted to. You know what I'm saying?
Great
So
point.
maybe, like I said, maybe it was just one of those situations. She initially wanted to help him, and because of how close they had gotten, maybe, and sometimes, it's not even about looks for people. Maybe it's how you interact with somebody that attracts you to them, how they move that attracts you to them, and maybe how he was moving or interacting or his intellectual capacity is what attracted Jada to him.
So all of that could be what attracted her to him. But here's one other thing, and that's why I'm stuck on this, because I'm seeing myself in the mirror. When I met, actually this is the real story about my child's mother. I put a little bit out there, but I got a very tough relationship with my baby mama. But when I met her, she looked good and all this other stuff, and then we started hanging out. And as I got to know her, she started revealing her trauma, her childhood trauma, and her issues and stuff like that. And what attracted me was that it's like I saw the good in her, and I'm like, you're a good person. You just have this pain, and I can help with that. So even the pain attracted me, and that's why I ask, is that predatory? I mean, in my mind, it never feels predatory. I don't feel like I'm doing it, to prey on somebody. I genuinely want to help, but it is the issues that attract me to people too. Like, I can fix that, and then we get into the situation, and if I
I
don't
don't
fix
think
it,
yes. I honestly don't think it's predatory. I have a friend who called me out. She calls me out on numerous occasions. But she's like, you are this why you ain't in no relationship. You always get these men that got these issues and da 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 da. And it's something. I think it's human nature to want to help somebody get through a tough time in their life or get past something that they've been through. And in that same token, feel like I can be different, and not necessarily that you want to change that person, but you feel like maybe you can just show them something different from what they used to, whether that's chaos in their relationships or just drama. And you just like, I know I ain't with the drama. I'm not with that chaos. Like, I can just show them a different way, you know?
right, right. Or let me flip it. Do you've been down that road enough? Because I have, and I've been burned by thinking I can help somebody. Now I got a child with them, I couldn't help them, and now it's negatively affecting my life and my child's life. So now I'm like, I'm a little damaged in the sense of, you know what, if you got trauma, if you got damage, I don't even want to deal with it. You need to come to me, figure it out, You need to come to me whole. Your credit score should be, in good standing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, and that's even probably bad, but it's a reality. Like, I need somebody as close to equally yoked as I am right now with where you are in life and where you are in your mind, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I ain't got time to fix you. I can help you get better from a place that you already good. But if you struggling and you bad, keep going to therapy and get that figured out. Do you make yourself right, make yourself happy, and then I can make you happier.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I am right now. Like, I need whoever I am to be whole, because I just feel like with where I am in my life, like, I feel like I'm past the drama. I'm very in tune with my emotions. And I can also make myself very in tune with your emotions. But and another thing I have struggled with is being in relationships with men who are insecure. And you don't, like you said, you meet that representative, so you don't realize this until after you in it. And then it's just like, bruh, why do it matter? This was before you.
Right.
like you said, I've changed. And you trying to judge me on my past. Like, I'm a changed woman.
That's real.
That happened before you, years before you came into the picture. So it shouldn't really matter. I'm in a different place now. But I think knowing that tidbit of information made him insecure. And then it's just like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I had a life before you came into my world. Like,
so do you think that maybe some of the things he should have never learned about your past and that would have been better off?
oh, definitely. I
TMI.
definitely, huh?
TMI.
Yeah,
Too
TMI.
much.
Mm-hmm. It in that situation, it was definitely. I feel like it was definitely um less is more. Like, leave some things out, because obviously you can't handle the truth.
Right.
But then I also feel like I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody that is insecure and can't understand like the things that I've been through. Because I feel like for any person that I deal with, if I find out you dealt with somebody that I knew in the past, I'm not gonna hold that against you. Like, this is a different time. We're different people. What you have been through does not play or mean anything to where we are right now.
Right. I feel you. Insecurity is a
So
major.
whoever I end up with, I definitely need them to be mature. I need them to understand that life happens. I just, and all that other stuff that you mentioned, like, I need them to be emotionally, spiritually intact. They need to, credit score needs to be nice, like,
Yep.
yeah, I just need a whole person.
Right.
Like, I'm out of the business of trying to fix people, trying to show you something different. Like, I need
You don't
you.
like
Hmm.
you don't like Build-A-Bear?
I honestly never had a problem with Build-A-Bear, but Build-A-Bear has hindered my relationships from from being official, from going to the talking dating phase to official. And, I don't have children. So to me, I'm just like, I want to have a family. And if you can't be where I need you to be, we can't build no family. And I'm not getting no younger.
Facts. So with that in mind, would you be ever interested in just going out and starting your family without the surety that you're gonna have this mom and dad household, basically single mom?
Mm-mm. That's why I ain't got no kids now. I just know. So here's my take on why I have not why I have not had children. Because I mean, hey, we can all make babies. You know what I'm saying? But I think for me, I know myself, and I know I need a break, and I need the way my job is set up. It's not. I'm not in a place where I'm near family, so it's not like I can be like, hey, I need to drop the kid off, like I need this to be a joint effort. Even if we not in the same house, I at least need to know like we in the vicinity of each other, and it's easy to do that co-parent role.
Yeah. Well, obviously, that's what everybody wants, and this is actually a brand new thought that's just popping into my head because single parent is so prevalent in our society today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we only dream of, we only imagine, and we only desire exactly what you just said. And because we desire that, we don't prepare for the reality. And the reality is the case more than the dream. So, should we be preparing? Should we be thinking about the worst case scenario? Because everything you just told me, you are not prepared for a motherfucker to leave you with a child and he gone to another country and here you are, got to figure it out with no family and no man in your life. But the reality is, it's like that. So
Mm-hmm.
so what do we? Should we practice? Is there a course for that? Is there a YouTube channel for that? Like, hey, this is preparing to be a single mother just in case 101. Maybe we should create that podcast.
I think it's a good idea. But I just, like I said, I'm even okay with knowing like, okay, we're not going to be together. We got a co-parent, but I just need to be in that same vicinity of that person because I've known that type of relationship to work. Like my parents, my stepdad and my mom separated when I was 11, but I still saw him every day. I probably saw him more than I saw my mother. You know what I'm saying? But their co-parenting dynamic worked. Like they definitely fed off of each other and was there when the other couldn't be there. So I know that relationship can work as far as co-parenting in the same vicinity. I mean, I've seen people co-parent across states, across countries, but of course, there's just one parent that's doing more work than the other. And I'm not here for it.
Yeah, I feel you. Nobody's here for it.
Like, I just, how they say, like, the mother is just so, and especially like during this pandemic, like I've seen so many of my friends just have to be around their kid 24/7. And I'm just like, what? What did this kid do? Oh, hell no. Like,
they're getting stressed out.
Yes, I'm stressed and I ain't even in the house with these kids.
Oh man, nobody said it would be easy though. Nobody said it would be easy.
Mm-mm. And it looks like when you and your daughter are together, y'all are like thick as thieves.
I appreciate that. I hope that the love that I show her will shine through the hate that is driven from other directions, and I'll just leave that at that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I definitely think that I mean maybe one day, I still aspire to be married and build a family that way. But maybe one day that may not be the case, and maybe one day I'll just be like, hey, I have a kid, and hopefully the person I had a kid with is on board. Well, they gonna have to be on board because to me, I've also never wanted to have a child and it be like it was not meant to happen.
Oh, you mean me? Yeah, got it. Right. Absolutely. No, nobody wants that. You do not want to be me.
So I feel like if I ever change my mind to be like, I'm down to do this, like a co-parenting type situation, even if it is across states, across countries, you know, the other person is on board to do it.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you. You know, I think we just got to make sure that our desire and our value for having a family um, isn't so great that we ignore the the relationship that we're going to have between man and woman, and how that can turn bad, and then you don't have the family anymore. You know what I mean? Like, just getting
Mm-hmm.
into a relationship with the wrong person because you feel like you're racing the clock, because you said it earlier, you're not getting any younger. Women talk about the biological clock, and so you get into this mindset, you know, probably in your 30s, where it's like, damn, I need to make a decision or something. But you know, people get baby fever, and then it might make them make some bad decisions. The person that you're gonna marry and lay down with, they gotta be through and through right and ready,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how much of you want a kid and how much of a blessing that kid is gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
You actually, and you know, it's supposed to be. A lot of people be disagreeing with that, but you see memes about it, like whether you choose your significant other or your child. And when if you take it to the Bible, it's like it's supposed to be your significant other. That's the person that you spend the rest of your life with, and your child gets grown and they leave the nest. And
Mm-hmm.
if that significant other is still the
It's
one that
still
you have
there.
to, yeah, spend the rest of your life with. People they're not ready to accept that and figure out how to balance that out.
Yeah, I think people get overwhelmed with the amount of responsibility that comes along with commitment. Um, but I'll tell you, it is a conscious effort every day to be like, I choose the person I'm with. Because while I was in my situation, there were definitely times when I was just kind of like, you know,
Hmm.
that looks nice. But then it's just
It
like,
happened.
no, he's at home. I need to get home.
Mm.
So
Yeah, that's
I will, and I don't think people talk enough about the temptation, because temptation is definitely there for both people. And like I said, it's a conscious effort in how you maneuver through it.
absolutely, absolutely. Temptation is hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
Real hard.
Real hard. But it can be done. It can be done. People just got to, I think for me, what when I am in a relationship allows me to give myself to that relationship is um understanding that what I have is what I have, and the grass ain't necessarily greener on the other side.
Right. Facts. Facts. And you know, I applaud everybody's choice, whether that's commitment with monogamy, whether that's commitment with open relationship, you know, however you define what your love is going to be. I mean, do what's best for you,
Mm-hmm.
and just like I said earlier, define it in advance, and you know, you make life work for you. I know what won't work for me, and what will work for me, or I think I know what will work for me, but I guess we'll see when I start that journey.
Yeah. I think we are all on a journey. Even if you are in a relationship, like, you're changing every day. The person that you're with is not the person that you got with however many years ago that y'all got together. And so I think self-discovery is a journey always, regardless if you're single or if you are in a relationship. You're continuously finding out things about yourself. You're continuously finding out things about your mate, because just like you change, they change as well. And yeah, you just gotta roll with the punches. And I honestly agree with no such thing as divorce, but you know, I am divorced, but I just think that once you decide to commit yourself, try and work through it. Like actually give it a chance to work. And if you both find that this ain't gonna work, then do what you got to do. But I wholeheartedly believe in giving your relationship a chance.
Shout out Will and Jada. That's why I admire them.
I think Will and Jada have found what works for their relationship. If I had to say I admire anything about their relationship, is just that they have figured out what works for them, and they have decided to make this a long-term thing. Because I think when you do marry somebody, it's not just, oh, we husband and wife. I do think that it is a life partnership. You do life together. And they've just figured out how to do life together in a way that works for them. So that is what I can say about what I admire about their relationship. As I mentioned, I am still on the fence about the whole monogamy thing, but that works for them.
Man, look, this is a hot take. I'm gonna be real with you, and I know we near the end here, but I just don't believe that humans were made to just have sex with the same person for the entirety of their life. I don't think that our bodies was made that way, and that's why it's so damn hard. That's why it's so hard. I have this,
and like I said, that is the part that I struggle with. You know what I'm saying? That is the part that makes me believe I don't necessarily think monogamy is real, but I feel like I am conditioned to societal norms, and that is what makes it. I honestly think societal norms is what makes it not believable.
Yeah, and what you said about, choosing that person every day and choosing that commitment every day is absolutely true. So if you make a promise and a commitment to be loyal, to have sex with this one person for the rest of your life, then it is your job to honor that, 100% or as best as you can. But we make commitments to things all the time. We make commitments to the gym. We make commitments to a diet. And what do we do even with our diet? What do we do with our diet? We go hard on the diet, and then we have a cheat day. We go hard in the gym, and then we fall off. That cheat day is a natural part of life. That cheat day happen in relationships all the time too. People just don't want to admit it.
This is true. But speaking of, I keep hitting on this societal norms part, and you mentioned it, like making relationships based off of what you've seen other relationships as far as like parents or whatever. And I'm not for certain if you watch Insecure.
Oh, I love Insecure.
So Insecure, you know how Molly was all upset about finding out that her dad cheated on her mom and was like, well, why would you stay? Whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's true. You don't know what your parents went through. You know what I'm saying? You know what you know, but you don't what you don't. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like, when she found out that tidbit of information, she was just like, how could you stay? Whatever. And it's just like, people change.
Yeah.
We don't know what the circumstances of that situation was.
Yo, and that scene that you're referring to with Molly and her parents is such a powerful scene, and it's deep because it's so real that is like a primary source of childhood trauma. Mm-hmm. And it might be trauma from your childhood because you knew that a parent was stepping out when you were a child, or now it's new trauma in your 20s or whenever because you just found out that a parent was stepping out, and now it done messed up your whole world because you had this view of what love is supposed to be like, but because your parents tried to keep you from the bad things of this world, you wasn't conditioned to that, hey, this happens and it's more real than you think. And I just think that it's a false reality. Like I think that infidelity and cheating, it happens way more than we could ever know from a statistic or anything, because people take things to their grave.
Yeah.
And we don't know who did what. I just choose to believe that a lot of people, most people, have stepped out or crossed the line in some way, even if it ain't literally having sex, but you done crossed the line in some way that you don't want your spouse to know and you don't want your kids to know. The reality is, if they don't know, it's likely to happen to them when they grow up too, and they're gonna get heartbroken and depressed when that happens. So I believe, and this is actually a philosophy of parenting my daughter, that at some point I got to figure it out, but I want to condition her to understand that these things happen and how to deal with it. It doesn't need to tear your world apart. It doesn't mean that a person doesn't even love you. You know what I mean? Like it can mean a lot of different things. I just want you to know that this is a part of life and it happens. And I'm not going to keep that secret from my child, because you end up in a scene like Molly and her parents in Insecure.
Facts. Yeah. I think a lot of us need to open ourselves more up to reality, because I feel like the reason we become so heartbroken or can't move past things is because we aren't conditioned to understand how life works. And like a lot of the lessons that I've learned have been as an adult, just accepting life for what it is, experiencing certain things and realizing like nobody teaches you how to deal with heartbreak. Nobody teaches you that your spouse could one day just decide they want to leave. You know what I'm saying? These are all things that you learn as you go. But no one teaches. It's experience that teaches us, and not the successes and failures of our parents that are teaching us these life lessons. And so I definitely think that, of course you want to hide your children from the problems of the world, or, things that are harmful. But in the same token, and I believe that, and I think that's why a lot of people are so traumatized by their parents being divorced, is because no one talked them through the situation. It was just like, one day your parent was dead and the next day they not. You know what I'm saying? And all you know is my parents got divorced.
Or they talked you through it, but they sugarcoated it.
Right. And it's just like, maybe if you explain to them a little better, or whatever the case may be, just put it out there. Love don't always end in divorce, but sometimes it does. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think that is the way to, as far as that goes, like keeping people from being traumatized. But also a life lesson is that life ain't gonna always go the way that you want it to go or you expect it to go.
Facts. Yeah, man.
Yep. So this turned into a very deep conversation.
It went a lot of directions too.
Yeah, it went way a lot of directions, but I think it was super good.
Me too. I appreciate you allowing me to have it.
Yes. I would definitely like for you to come back on the show. Do you have any final words that you would like to say to the people?
I mean, I guess I can't wrap up and conclude what we talked about, because we talked about so many things, right?
Yeah.
I just I'm a 34-year-old man who has had my own experiences. I did a lot of things that people said I shouldn't do, because you always get good advice, but you don't listen to it. You got to make the mistakes yourself. But I give the advice knowing people are not going to listen to me. But no matter what, we don't have to rush through life. Life is long. We say life is short, and it is, but look at it the long way too. You have time to get yourself together, and you don't have to be together at 21, at 25. You don't have to be together at 30. Your time is your time. And every year you should just focus on getting better. Every day you put your best foot forward, and the chips fall where they may. And that's how I've been living. And I've made my mistakes. But now at 34, I feel like I am most ready. And I'm never going to say that I'm fully ready, because life is going to throw something new at me every time I take a turn. But there is no substitute for time. There's no substitute for time. So when you think that you got it figured out, or you think that you might be ready for something, and you've been through a lot of stuff, however you feel about the things you've been through at this age, 5 years from now, you're going to think about those experiences different, because there's no better teacher than time, and there's no substitute for time. So just take your time and do your best every day, and let the chips fall where they may.
Definitely. I agree. I feel like I have put stipulations on myself based on time frames that I've had. And as I meet certain ages or whatever and realize I ain't where I said I was going to be, it really made me think about how, things don't necessarily happen in the time that we want it to, but the Lord knows what it is that we desire. And, in time and in his time, those things will happen. And so as far as dating, talking, officialness goes, like, you can't put a time on it. I think when both parties know they are ready for whatever it is that they are about to embark on, it's when the feeling is right. Discussions need to be had, because no one is a mind reader. But just be open and honest about what it is that you want, your expectations, and maybe that person can say yay or nay, I can meet them or I can't meet them, but hopefully the person that you are building a connection with is on the same page as you, but don't be heartbroken if they aren't.
That's right. Amen.
So that is going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Kikiing with Coco. Dub, you want to let them know where they can reach you at on social media?
Yes, Dub Cito, DUBCITO. That's my Instagram, and I'm transparent and real on there, and I turn up on there, and I am myself on there. So if you want to follow me, I'm gonna follow you back, and that's that.
I will say he is a turn up king. I enjoy.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
He is a turn up king. His vacations are litty.
Okay, I'll take that.
His vacations are litty. He's a good time in general. I appreciate you for coming on the show. As always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You can reach me on Instagram, Twitter, and I have a Facebook page at Kikiing with Coco. If you have any questions, you can DM me on either of those avenues or email me at kikiingwithcocopod@gmail.com. And I have a website, kikiingwithcocopodcast.com. And if y'all follow me on social media, you know that I have created some t-shirts that I am selling. They are on pre-order right now, but I'm Black 25/8 just means that we are Black more than 7 days a week, and to take pride in being Black. So again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you have questions, email me, and that's it. So bye.